Get ready for some late nights, everybody. It's time for that 5-game West Coast trip for your Philadelphia 76ers. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers pregame show, live from the Xfinity mobile studio, along with Derek, Kyle. I'm Devon Brick, President of Basketball Operations. He's got a lot of work to do ahead of this trade deadline. We're all hanging out with you on this Monday night, the front of a back-to-back, taking on the Los Angeles Clippers with Kawhi Leonard, Ivica Zubac, and company. And, man, this is a big one. We are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. We'll give you the pregame picks a little bit later. We have to talk about the super big news and frustration by everybody. Joel Embiid is not, at least as of yesterday, an all-star reserve. We'll discuss that a little bit later. The red-hot Clippers, of course, coming into tonight's game. But we have to start off, Derek, with the road trip and Sixers. Last 5-game road trip of the season for the Sixers. And this is a huge stretch for them. 6 games before the All-Star break, 5 out west before they come home for one last game on the 11th before they go into the All-Star break. They get an opportunity tonight where the Clippers will be without James Harden. We'll talk about tomorrow with Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors on the second night of a back-to-back. But Joel Embiid is playing tonight, and no Paul George, as we know. So there's no Paul George to help Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, and company on Tuesday. This is a really good opportunity right now, but they start this 5-game trip. What are you looking for from them as we get things started here?
Well, I'm going to correct you real quick. First, I'm going to steal a joke from Attila the Hungry in our Discord. It is a 6-game road trip the Sixers are on. And by that, I mean, if you have tickets to that New York Knicks game when they come back, I do not want you to sell them. I need you in the building. We cannot have another Knicks takeover. I cannot take it.
My apologies.
No, I mean, look, this is a theoretically really tough road trip with a little bit of luck here mixed in on the opening parts of it. You don't have James Harden here tonight. You don't have Steph Curry against the Warriors. And as you get into that latter half of that trip, not only because you're going to play the Suns in that latter half and they're playing really good basketball, but also it just gets tougher and tougher, progressively tougher to continue to play well on the road the longer a trip extends. They really need to bank these two here, and this one specifically against the Clippers. With Harden out of the lineup, do you know how many points they are? 12 points per 100 possessions better offensively with Harden in the lineup. Like, their offense absolutely
I'm shocked
without him on the floor. Now, their defense gets a little better without him floor. Again, that's probably not shocking to anybody who has watched James Harden play defense, but their offense goes from one of the best in the league, or the equivalent of one of the best in the league, to one of the worst. And that's even with Kawhi Leonard on the floor. They still do not tread water offensively. They need to be able to win this game. You know, obviously game 2 without Paul George, you're losing a little bit. You're losing a guy who has at least the capability of matching up with Kawhi, but they need to execute tonight because you do need to get off on the right foot on this road trip.
Yeah, so let me start with something that we heard from Tyrese Maxey on Saturday night after the game. He was looking ahead to this road trip and essentially said, we got to pack our defense and know that might be all we got some nights. And it was a little bit of like a rah-rah speech at the podium where he said, like, this is the type of trip where you're on the road for a long time and all you have are the guys on that plane with you, the guys riding the bus to the arena. There's no family there. I mean, maybe there are some friends out in LA, right? Everybody wants to see you while you're in Los Angeles specifically. But the point was, like, these are real bonding moments for your team. They can define a season in many ways, where if you come back and you're 4-1 and, you know, vibes are high, you're in a different place as a team, especially coming off of that Paul George news. And while they have said all the, you know, hey, we're going to support Paul, we're going to open our arms to him, like, he's still going to be at practices and whatnot. And it's weird to use an internal mistake as like a troop rallying moment. You think about it, and I'm sure there's a little bit of like, man, people are saying we're going to miss Paul, we're going to be this, and we're going to be that. I'm sure there are a few of these guys who are saying this is an opportunity. This is a time in the season for us as a group, for maybe me as an individual, where I got to raise my game. And some of it is like a lot of pretty ladies in LA watching the games too. So there's a little bit of that factor in there as well. So I would just say this. I think these guys have been thinking about, talking about, preparing for this West Coast road trip. And it's easy to get caught up in like, oh, these games matter more than the others and oversell it a little bit. But I think this is a real prove it type of moment for this team, a prove it type of moment for Joel Embiid, who has found his footing in a big way over the last month. And we'll see what they do with it. But I'm really excited for these games. I know Derek is not so excited to stay up until 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. But I think given the quality of opponents and potentially the quality of these games, I'm hoping we see a lot of good basketball over the next week and a half.
Really nice test for them. It's no longer game 14. We're now firmly into these bigger games where we're getting close to 50 games for the team. But where we set a test early on was a little bit different. We kind of have a handle on who we think this basketball team is right now and what they could become. The one thing with this, as we also talk about the Golden State game tomorrow, is they cannot not look for Paul George to come save anything on an off night. He's not there. He's not there tonight. He will not be there tomorrow. He will not be there for the remainder of the trip. So everyone has to dig deep. And Kyle, to your point of what Maxey said, that we are who we have. We have to look to our left and to our right and see who we can trust. And, of course, in front of us, behind us, to have our backs. And they are a little shorthanded when you're talking about Paul George. So with that, though, no Kawhi Leonard tonight, which we'll talk about a little more extensively in the next segment when we get into the Red Hot Clippers. But the other part, as you mentioned, the beautiful ladies there in the seats for the Los Angeles Clippers game, they also arrived there yesterday. And I want to see how fast they get off to a start tonight against the Clippers, because we know that there are certain cities that can get you before you play a basketball game. And one of them is Los Angeles. And I'd imagine with the professionalism that you're talking about, that Maxey spoke about as a leader on this team, sure, go out for the night, have a good time, but don't stay out too long where, you're not battling sleep like Derek is for, staying up a little bit too late. So that's what I look at this one as, with Joel Embiid on the floor, no Paul George. What are you going to do right away? What message are you going to send to the team immediately for not only for yourselves, but the coaching staff of what things are going to look like? You have a player like Jared McCain, who was looking forward to playing in Los Angeles last season, and he didn't, the hometown guy. And he's now coming off of 3 of his last 4 games, pretty good, shooting much better. We saw where he and Joel Embiid talked about each other and the synergy that they have on the floor. And could this do something for him where he feels comfortable playing on the floor back at home? Or is it going to go the other way where he's not playing at home because he's trying to do too much for his first game in his hometown? So a lot of storylines here that we look to, digging deep, where we talk about Maxey and his fatigue that sets in some games, and we see him overcome it in other games. So I am very curious to see how this one looks tonight for Tyrese Maxey, because of that very reason of starting a 5-game trip. The team has been really good as far as their record on the road, better than at home. And they've shown that they can play away from the Xfinity Mobile Arena. So I'm intrigued by this game 1, with Joel playing tonight, not playing tomorrow. As we know with the back-to-backs, this is an opportunity for them to start things off on the right foot and secure a win and extend their 3-game winning streak to 4 and see where it goes from there.
Well, 2 quick comments, and then because I'm sure Kyle has something to add. I forget who it was, so I apologize for not giving you credit, but I remember somebody in our Discord saying earlier in the year that Quentin plays every game like there's a girl in the stands that he's trying to impress. I'm a little worried about him with these 2 games out here in LA. Also, shame on the league for not making the 2 LA stops back to back. Having 3 nights in LA, not necessarily for the team, because you can kind of get yourself into a little bit of trouble out there, but as a beat writer, that was always the trip that we fought over. Shame on them for making them go all the way up to San Francisco.
I mean, the scheduling is silly from a team perspective too. Like to have them in LA, go up to San Francisco, and then you're coming right back. It's, like, we need someone with like a single iota of common sense to look at the schedules every once in a while and say, I think maybe we should change this. And I know that's easier said than done. And they have a whole big scheduling matrix and whatnot. But some of these quirks of the schedule really just drive me up a wall. This is one of them. But yeah, and look, we're going to get into it, but this Clippers team has been absolutely on fire for over a month now. Basically, the last month and a week, month and a couple of weeks, month and a half.
I mean, that's the whole reason he had to eat the paper.
The paper bowl was sparked by this Clippers run starting on, I think it was like December 20th. They lost to the Thunder on the 18th of December, and since then they're 18-4. They've beaten plenty of good teams along the way. They are at or near the top of they're third in offense in that time. They're sixth on defense. So they've been an elite two-way team has been the big thing. And the head of the snake is Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi has been playing at an absolutely bonkers level for the last month and a half, basically averaging 36-4 on good efficiency. That is like peak Kawhi. That's playoff Kawhi. Kawhi has always been a very, very good regular season player. In fact, he's been in the mix at times for like MVP type stuff when he's been healthy. But over the years, it's turned more into he can get up to another gear. He's in that gear. He's been in that gear. When they had to go and save this season, Kawhi found that guy that he used to be. And this might be like the Dr. Jonathan Glasgow Bowl tonight between the Kawhi reemergence, the Joel Embiid reemergence here. It is two guys who are very unique in terms of their play styles. I'm excited to watch both of them go to war tonight.
All right, let's take our pause here on the show. When we come back, we'll talk more about Kawhi Leonard and the Red Hot Clippers, what the Sixers need to do defensively to slow him down as best as they possibly can, and offensively, what it should look like against the Clippers defense. It's the PHLY Sixers pregame show. Sixers Clippers. Sixers begin a 5-game road trip and the front end of a back-to-back with Golden State up next. But first, the Clippers we discuss when we get back right here on the PHLY Sixers pregame show.
And guys, as always, we have to tell you about Xfinity, specifically Xfinity's 5-year price guarantee. Because what if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. And that lets you stream the game even when the whole family's online. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. There are no annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment included. Take it from us, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, dreams grow bigger. But your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable, and the price should stay put. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply.
And we are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moments, never ordinary at Bet365. Among 90 million users worldwide, 780,000 events each year that are streamed right there on the app. And you get early payouts in the NBA and the NHL at Bet365. Tonight in the association, you do get a plus 30% profit boost at Bet365. Light slate tonight, only 4 games in the NBA. So maybe before we came on, I was watching Houston and Indiana, really good game as they were playing. Maybe you made a halftime adjustment live in-game betting only at Bet365. New customers, if you have not jumped in yet and you're wondering what are we talking about, hey, breaking news for you. You can jump in and get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, at Bet365. All you have to do is deposit $10, place a bet for $5, and you are credited $200 into your account, win or lose. Nobody else is doing that but Bet365. Use code PHLY365, and those bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more, including the big game this weekend, all at Bet365. Must be 21 plus, physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back here on the PHLY Sixers pregame show with Kyle, Derek, Devon, and Bree, all of you. All right, Kyle, you were talking about Kawhi Leonard and what he's been doing, and he has been on a tear, as you mentioned, has scored 20 or more points in a career-best 27 consecutive games. For the Clippers, they have 22 games over the course of those 22 games, 18-4 record. Ivica Zubac, as we know, is a very good center that they have. No James Harden tonight, so they'll lean on him a lot. In their last game, they're on the second night of a back-to-back, so that was yesterday in Phoenix. He had a 20-rebound night with 14 points, perfect from the floor, 5 for 5 for his outing, helping their team defeat the Phoenix Suns. So what have you checked in on to see what has changed? Obviously, the Kawhi Leonard piece, but you had them as as your sleeper team out west, and they got off to a terrible start. Since then, as you pointed out, they have been red hot, finding themselves back into the mix in the play-in situation for the Western Conference. What has changed for them? Muted there.
I did it again. It's these remote shows. So it's a lot of things for sure, right? Where the much talked about Chris Paul departure seemed like the vibes were just really off there. And I'm not in that locker room, so I can't speak to all the personal dynamics. That was one thing. Bradley Beal has been out since mid-November, so I don't think you can really say like Bradley Beal stopped playing and you stop playing guys who don't care about defense, and it helps. I do think some of their role players around Kawhi that I was bullish on in the offseason on this team have finally played a little bit more like I expected. So John Collins is a big one. John Collins over the last month or so has been really, really good, shooting like 65% from the field. You mentioned Zubac, like his tandem, his chemistry with James Harden was great last year. It's great this year. I think he is someone, though, that I think he'll rebound the ball tonight, but in terms of the offensive firepower, he's not giving you a whole heck of a lot when he doesn't have Harden playing setup man. So a lot of it just comes down to Kawhi has been borderline unguardable for the last month and a half, and everybody else's life gets much, much easier when he's in the mode that he's in right now. And I think they've figured out some things with the rotation. Certainly, they always had talent there, talent available. Chris Dunn is playing a little bit better. Nick Batum has been playing over 20 minutes a night, and he's shooting like 40 or 41% from three, I think. And as you guys know, we watched him firsthand. A lot of people who follow the league know Nick Batum, just a really smart player who, even if his stats don't jump off the page, when he's in the game, you can trust he's going to make, the right extra pass, be opportunistic with his offense. And so it's a combination of a lot of factors. I don't want to say it's any one thing, but certainly the driving force is that Kawhi looks like MVP level Kawhi, finals MVP level Kawhi. And when you get that guy for a month and a half straight, you're probably going to win a good amount of basketball games.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think sometimes basketball is pretty simple. When your star players start playing like stars again, you tend to do a lot better. And Kawhi's been playing like a superstar. And then you had James Harden, who was averaging 25 and 8 over the last, since December 20th, since that win streak began. He has not been the most efficient version of himself. Still gets the line almost 9 times per night. So he's still able to, buoy that efficiency by getting the free throw line. But that playmaking is a big, big loss. And it'll be interesting to see how they handle that here without him, because for the most part, he's been a regular part of that rotation as well. Like he's played every night over this stretch. So they will have a big loss there to get through. But yeah, I mean, Kawhi's playing incredible basketball. That tends to help you win basketball games, as we see here in Philadelphia, as Joel Embiid gets back to his MVP form, offensively at least. Not defensively.
Yeah, no, Kawhi Leonard has looked fantastic, and he has just been tremendous in just turning back that clock, as Kyle said, just play off Kawhi and what he's been able to do to help uplift that team. With Bradley Beal out, Derek Jones Jr. missed some time, and he was a big part of their rotation early on. And with those players in and out of the lineup, the Chris Paul part, who knows where that all plays itself into the whole situation. But I mean, look, they've gotten it together, and they look like the team that was there last year. I had a lot of people assuming they would win the division this year, with coming into the moves that they made, adding Brook Lopez and keeping some of their other guys intact, even with the addition of Bradley Beal, just thinking that this team would be really, really, really good, really well coached. And look, who knows if that story, that Pablo Torre just tore down, the whole thing going on out there with Kawhi and all had anything to do with some of the vibes that were also who knows, but they figured it out, man, to be on the tear that they've had, 6 in a row, 7 in a row, 1 loss there in between, and go on another run. They've just been really, really good for this basketball team. And with no James Harden tonight, though, I am curious to see who handles the ball the most. Will Chris Dunn get a lot of that opportunity here when we check out the starters here shortly? But will he have the ball in his hands a lot? Will they lean on Kawhi Leonard to handle those ball handling responsibilities a little bit more? Very curious to see what Tyronn Lue does here. And again, they are on the second night of a back-to-back. So not a far travel from Phoenix, but a travel nonetheless, where they did have to play a game last night shorthanded because James Harden was not there again there. So very interested to see how they come out, what version of the Clippers we get on the second night of a back-to-back, and see if, the Sixers can jump on them early because of the fact that they did have to play a game on Sunday night.
And circling back on, everybody needing to lock in, be ready for this trip, that the guys who came with you are all you have. I do think this is a big road trip for VJ, where I think with Paul in the lineup and the full cast available, there are times when, sometimes by necessity, he's got to fade into the background a little bit. Other guys are going, other guys have better matchups, but they really don't have a choice except for VJ to be heavily involved and for him to be one of the most important guys on offense. And so against a handful of pretty good teams here, like these are all playoff caliber teams that they're up against on this trip. This is a great test for him. Like, what do you got? I'm assuming Maxey will draw the tougher assignment. So Chris Dunn, for example, who you brought up, Devon, probably going to check Tyrese rather than VJ. But in those instances, we look at him and we say, you have to take advantage of your matchup because Tyrese is dealing with a much tougher one. This is a team that has a genuine point of attack, get into your chest type of defender. And if the other team is going to throw that guy at Tyrese, it's your responsibility as the other guy in the backcourt to say, all right, if I have a weaker matchup, if I can, get some of these isolations one-on-ones, I'm going to have to take advantage of them. So I would look to see if there's a lot more Joel Embiid, VJ Edgecombe, ball screens. That left side pick and roll has been something they've been leaning pretty heavily into. We'll see if they go with that again tonight.
Starters for tonight, the usual 5. There you go. With no Paul George, you have Dominic Barlow in the starting lineup. In the front court with Kelly Oubre, Joel Embiid, and Tyrese Maxey. And as Kyle just mentioned, VJ Edgecombe for the Los Angeles Clippers tonight. They are going with Chris Dunn. Kobe Sanders getting the start there in the backcourt with Kawhi Leonard, John Collins, and Ivica Zubac. And the John Collins thing, too, Derek, as I mentioned the newcomers, and I kind of just lost track of John Collins, but he's been playing a lot better, hitting some outside shots where we would talk about him in the Eastern Conference for a while of, is he going to be able to make outside shots? Is he going to allow that to help transition his game a little bit, not just from the athlete, but also the shooter? And he's shooting the ball pretty decently from behind the three-point line as well.
Hold on. I want to real quick, Derek, I want you to guess. Devon just said pretty decently. What do you think John Collins is shooting during this win streak or win stretch, we'll call it?
I mean, I don't know during the stretch, but I know he's shooting like 43% on the year.
Okay, guess what? He's shooting 59.2% since December 20th. Those
pretty
are
decent
game numbers. That's pretty decent, I would say.
Yeah, pretty good.
And this is a guy who's always been able to shoot a little bit, but always on pretty low volume, but he's taken it up to another level. I mean, when you're shooting that volume and that quality, 43% on the year, this is easily the best shooting year of his career. And it makes sense. Like, I could see him being the type. I'd love to see those on-off splits with Harden. I would guess he probably is helped quite a bit by having Harden and his playmaking on the floor. But credit to him for taking something that was a pretty small part of his game. And look, he doesn't get nearly the touches he gets in other facets. He's a lot more of a spot-up shooter. Like, threes at this point account for like almost 40% of his shots, and he's making them at a career best rate.
Yep. So got to guard him tonight as well from behind the three-point line and put a body on those guys. They will hit the glass. That front court, they certainly will hit the glass. All right. Before we get to our pregame picks, the other big news from Sunday, Joel Embiid not voted as an All-Star reserve in the Eastern Conference. That went to Mitchell, Johnson, Karl Anthony Towns, Pascal Siakam, Norman Powell, Scotty Barnes, and Jalen Duren. Some of those we expected to be there, but Joel Embiid certainly in the mix. So, Kyle, I'll start with you. People were upset that Joel Embiid, with his 28 games, I believe, of the Sixers, 40, almost 50 games that he has played, did not get the nod from the head coach. Has been on an absolute tear this month and all dating back to December. But your thoughts, Joel did not make it. We mentioned it a few weeks ago. If he didn't make it, there's still a chance that, hey, maybe he's voted in as an injury replacement, but did not make the call. And Sixer fans, as expected, not happy.
Yeah, I mean, I was not surprised that the coaches gave the games played award to a few of these guys at we would say probably at the end of the ballot here. Like, all due respect to Pascal Siakam, who's having a good individual season. Brother, your team is 20 games under 500. Like, every time one of these types of guys is in the All-Star game, I get it because it's an individual honor and blah, but like, you got to be within like the realm of your team matters at all to me for these. I think Derek probably is on the other side of this argument and skews more toward reward the players regardless of, but I'm sorry, man. They're what, 13 and 33 or 13 and 34 or something ridiculous. So that one jumped out at me. It's like, I get it. He's played every game and he's scoring whatever, 23 points a game, 7 rebounds, all that. That was one. Towns is another one where it's like, I get it. Good numbers, good team. Also, like, your entire team hates you and they want to trade you for the next possible juncture. So saying like, yeah, that guy's an all-star is a little weird to me, but I don't know, man. It's all-star. I just, what I come back to is like, I don't really care about it anymore. All these goofy format changes and they've taken the joy from me. So I just say, who cares? Rest in knee, Joel.
We have a mutual friend who every time he talks about Town says he has fleas and you don't want him anywhere near you. I wouldn't say I don't factor team success into it all. I just don't eliminate people from a lack of team success because of their situation is probably the way that I would phrase it. I did have Siakam among my reserves. I did not have Towns because he has fleas. I also did not have Norm Powell because I just don't think Miami's good enough to have 2 All-Stars. So those were the 2 that I had out. But if somebody's not going to, like, if someone's going to dock Embiid for playing almost half the games of someone like Siakam, I also understand that rationale too. I could go, I certainly go more like who's been the best players, who's been the most defining players. It would have been an easier selection with Embiid if he was more consistent to start the year. I think that probably hurt him as well as the games missed. But with the way he's turned it around, I could have, like I said, I understand arguments for either direction. I did have him. We posted our reserve list. I did have him on the reserves. So
I did not, because I didn't think that they would. I thought they would use the games played against them, and I went with.
We're very mad at Devon, by the way. the replies to that tweet were just nasty.
And I made sure I told him, hey, I would put him in the game. I'm talking about what they will probably do, which they did not do. And I had Adebayo in there with Norm Powell. And that was just more because I thought he was better than Towns for the season. Numbers-wise, his were a little bit more better because I thought that Towns' numbers have dipped this year. And just he hasn't been the same type of player. Rebounding-wise, he's still there. He's averaging 20, but I'm used to him averaging a little bit more when he makes these all-star teams. And I do think Joel was deserving. The thing that was the biggest thing for me with Joel is that we were talking about him being an all-star reserve, whether he got in there or not, because of how things started the season, of course, playing the games, but then went out for that long stretch and could not stay on the floor on a minute restriction, and then just turned it up late November into December, all of January. And he made a big push to make them think about putting him in that game. So look, Giannis is out. He is a world player, Giannis is. So there are enough world players overall if they can take from Siakam and some of the Siakam and some of these other players like Norm Powell as well, who is not a USA player. So there's an opportunity for Joel because he played for Team USA. I guess he still just be a part of the USA team, even though Siakam is a Cameroonian as well.
Thing.
Yeah,
we got to split hairs between. Got to make sure we have equal representation for Team World, and like maybe the coaches voted Siakam in because they're hoping he elbows someone on a rival team and hurts them, and then whoever the coach's team is can actually make the playoffs now.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. But hey, Joel could still be voted in or selected as an injury replacement by the commissioner.
And that's by the commissioner. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think the rosters are set tomorrow night. So we may know before we have our pregame show of what team Tyrese Maxey is a part of the two USA teams. And if the injury replacement is in fact selected tomorrow, we should know that. But very interesting, and this format is very weird, and none of us like it. All right, let's get to the PHLY pregame picks from Bet365. Whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. All right, let's go, Bree. What does Bree have here for herself tonight? Sixers win. Nice. Embiid gets the 30, Maxey 40, plus 700. Goodness gracious. Bree.
30 plus from Joel, Maxey 4+ threes. Man, Bree is feeling good to start
plus
this
700
West Coast road trip.
Yes, look at that. And you get a 30% profit boost there if you go with Breeze. Mine, I went with Edgecombe. Interesting one. They had him at like a plus 100 to score 3 points in the first quarter. I said, I'm taking that. In the first quarter, I'll take that. With Zubac's 10+ rebounds for the entire game. Mine is at a plus 175. Choose whichever one you like. Add one to mine. Go with Breeze. Use your 30% profit boost right here at Bet365. Whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. All right, that'll do it for us, everybody. Yes, Ron, Bet and Bree, plus 700. Jay of the Jungle, go for it. And we'll be back 10 minutes after the game goes
if
final.
Embiid scores 30 and Maxey hits 4 threes, I don't think you got to worry about the money line. I think that one's safe.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Back 10 minutes after the game goes final. We'll be here breaking it all down with you, probably closer to midnight tonight, everybody. So get your coffee, get your tea.
If it's done by midnight, something great happens.
12:30. We're back here with you, everybody. Buckle up, get ready. You know, get the caffeine if you're going to stay up with us. Set the alarm if you're taking that, whatever you need to do, because we'll be with you late night right here with Kyle, Derek, Bree, myself. It's the PHLY Sixers postgame. Enjoy, everybody.
We all silly like the mayor.